here she is, glued up, ready to paint. So there's still some white speckles, but that's cool. You know, sand doesn't go everywhere in real life. Sometimes there's a rock, sometimes there's a crevice. It's going to give it some depth. It's going to be cool. And now I'm going to spray it. So just a quick tip here is when you spray, you want to spray in coats like this. But keep a fair distance, you know, about 15 centimeters or 6 inches, maybe a bit more, 7, 8 inches for you guys. And just spray it all over in short bursts. Above, around, that's how you do it. Alright, here it is. Sprayed black. Used 2 coats, but there's still some places that I didn't get in, but that's okay. I mean, once we start painting this, it's going to look really cool. And we're going to use a good brown to start, and it's going to be dark, so that's going to be the basic shadow of our thing. This is just an undercoat. This is a very important stage because it keeps the sand on here with the glue. So once we put all the layers of paint on here and we start dry brushing, the grains aren't going anywhere. That's important. Hey guys, we are ready to paint. So if you guys wanted to go for an urban base, I would suggest going to the grays and get yourself a base coat of grey, slightly darker than Space Wolf's grey, maybe a mix between Shadow Grey and Space Wolf's grey, and then paint this over as a base coat, and then I'd work it up with Space Wolf's grey, and then finally I'd make my own grey with black and white, with more white in it than black, because you want that extra highlight for the last dry brush. So any base should really only have about 3 steps, including the primer that you use. We're going to be using sort of red earth, so we're going to go with a scorched brown for the base, which is all over, and then I'm going to mix in some scorched brown, probably a little bit of snake bite, maybe even some bubonic brown, and some blood red into my main mix, and that's because I want a red earth. So these two with the highlight of one of these just to lighten it up. I wouldn't use white because that's going to make the color creamy and look wrong. So that's going to be the second coat, and then for the final dry brush I'm going to use bleached bone with maybe a little bit of the red that I'm going to mix up, and then maybe a little bit of white into the bleached bone, a little bit of this color, and then that's going to be the highlight. So really only 3 steps. It's going to go scorched brown, scorched brown, the highlight with a bit of red in it, and the blue, the brown, and then the bleached bone and the white finally. So let me just show you. Open my scorched brown, grab my trusty brush, and start getting this onto the palette. I want quite a lot because I'm going to be doing the whole crater. Okay, and now let's mix in some water. My water is really red now, because that's not a bad thing since we're working with it later with the red. So I'm just watering down my paints, which you should always do. And that looks good enough. You don't want it too thin because you want it to cover your base and give it another thick coat. By the way, this had 2 blacks on it. So now I'm just going to paint straight over this. Let's go matte and just start spreading the paint around until it's over. Here she is in all her brownness. So now the base coat's done, let's mix up the next color. Of course it's dry, mind you. Wait for it to dry. So grab your brush that you're going to be mixing this color with. I'm going to save my broad brush for my dry brushing, and I'm going to use my other brush to actually make this cool color. So put about 2 dabs of BCO brown, a little bit, 2 dabs, put some water. I gotta say, this red water actually is working for me. So mix that in. Okay, next I'm gonna add some red, blood red. About 1 brush full. Let's see how that goes. Nice, but I want more. So I'd say maybe 1 more, maybe 2. Just taking a big one. Mixing it around. I'm going to add 1 more, not just to make it more red, but to give it some brightness. This blood red, that's one of the great things about it, is it's Right. Okay, that's enough. Make sure I get all the red off my brush. Mix it in good. Okay, so we brighten this brown. Nice. Looking at this, it looks good. I'll show you guys. So it looks, it's pretty red. I might add some more. Maybe I'm gonna add actually a little bit of bleached bone to this, just to brighten it up. Maybe one brush full. Mix it in. Yeah, it's starting to look good. Right, so now we got our color. Now it's just a matter of dry brushing, guys. You know your basic dry brush technique. You gotta have dry bristles, right? And you just gotta use a little bit, wipe it off until you got nothing, and then just dry brush the whole thing.